Family, this is about the fifth take. A little frustrated, but it's all good. So, I'm just more or less introducing myself. My name's Kwame Keetzler with G&J Media. I'll be taking over Brother Hatem's spot for tribal quotes. Not sure how often I'll do them, maybe once a week, once a month, I don't know. We'll see how it flows. This evening, actually, I was supposed to be interviewing my wife, but she got caught up in a trustee meeting. But it's all good. It's all good. And then I was fighting with this thing because it wouldn't save my recordings like it was supposed to. But I'm doing good. We'll figure it out. And without further ado, I was listening to, I guess, a brother Shabazz earlier today, and I'm not even sure what the brother was talking about because I don't necessarily, anyway, not sure what I don't recall what the brother was talking about. That's more accurate. Nonetheless, he was talking about what he knew to be the truth. And I can't speak per se on what Brother Shabazz knows, but I know there's a saying from our tribal quotes that says, one person's eyes is made of another person's mouth. And at the end of the day, that's just saying, look, if you're going off of what somebody told you, you don't know but what they told you. And then half the time, you don't even recall that correctly. But nonetheless, but yeah, let me speak for me personally. One of the reasons I don't even like speaking in forums like this or in general is because there's very little I know. Particularly as a blind man, I have to rely on what I hear and what people tell me. And again, when I'm relying on what someone tells me, that's secondhand information. And then, on top of all that, is what they perceive true, that they can relay it to me for truth. Because again, many of us are under illusions, delusions, and confusions. And so I would just offer an admonishment, advice, take it as you will. Be careful when you talk about what you know. Well, I guess I'll share this with you. Most of you know. Well, anyway, I'm a brother who likes his math. And my favorite in math is geometry. And geometry is built on these things called axioms. Axioms are what we call accepted truths. Accepted truths. You may ask the question, well, why do we accept them to be true if they're not facts? Well, we accept them to be true because we have found practical applications whereby the truths that we derive from them stand up today. In other words, those theorems that we built up off of those axioms hold true for us today. So now, when we talk about what we know. Well, in math, we say when it's a theorem, we know it. It's a fact. That's that, right? And then, of course, we get down to, well, what are these axioms built on? Axioms are built on your imagination. I, I know it may seem a little funny, but what is a point? A point is said to be dimensionless. We can't even imagine what dimensionless is. And then we're told that if we list, if we put a bunch of dimensionless items together, string them along together, it creates something of one dimension. Now, don't know dimensions we associate with zero. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 multiply or added an infinitesimal number of times. And we're told we add 0 together a whole bunch of times and all of a sudden we get 1. Now, again, we can't even imagine what something dimensionless is. And then we string a bunch of them together and get something that's one dimension. So already, in some sense, you've lost me. However, if I go out into the, let's just say it's a sand, if I go out in some sand and I place a pole on that, in the sand. Now, even though the diameter of the pole's bottom is greater than a point, abstracting or concretizing, if you will, the abstraction of a point to where I have placed this pole in the ground, that makes it a practical application. And based on that practical application, I can put another pole in the ground somewhere else. I can put a string or line between those two poles, and that will give me a conception of a line as a practical application of a line. In other words, taking the abstract idea of a group of dimensionless items stringed together, creating a dimension, an item of one dimension. And in truth, you can't even see an item of one dimension. That's why a lot of our geometry was dealing with, or dealt a lot with 2 dimensions, because you need both length and width before you can begin to see things. And in order to see things, you'd have to be in a 3rd dimension. But anyway, I don't want to go into higher geometry on you and all. I just wanted to say that be careful of what you think you know, and be even more careful of what you say you know. Because at the end of the day, you only know what you've been told by and large. One love.